Alright, this is John Colo with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, long awaited, I'm going to compare two juicers against head each other so that you guys could learn the pros and cons of each one. You know, over all else, what is most important to me is that you guys get the right juicer for you, no matter what it is. And hopefully I sell it, because if I do, then you could support me and make your purchase at DiscountJuicers.com, right? This allows me to continue to make these educational videos to share with you guys my perspective on juicing. I've been juicing straight solid for over 25 years at this point. And I've been juiced when I was even younger as a child, but not like regularly, because my parents had a juicer that we got to use. And I've basically experimented, compared, and contrasted basically every style juicer on the market, going into the specifics and things that the manufacturers will not tell you. There's lots of, on some level, shady advertising out there by some manufacturers, in my personal opinion. And we are all entitled to opinions in the great United States of America. And I cut through all that and show you guys the truth, and show you guys my truth based on some of the research, some of the data I've seen, plus also my real world experience, where I basically compare and contrast and juice the same exact items in two machines and show you guys the process, how long it takes, and all these kinds of things. So if you guys like my work, if you have benefited from my work, if you know, wow, I'm not going to get that juicer because it showed this, John videos said this, John said that, and I saw it didn't work so well, then hey, do me a favor too if you can. Make your purchase at Discount Juicers. We ship anywhere in the United States as well as its territories, and I would appreciate it so much. And in addition, when you purchase from me, you not only support me to allow me to continue to buy my produce, to make these videos, to share with you guys the information. I'll continue to do this for as long as I'm able, because juicing has changed my life, right? Getting the right juicer could mean the success or failure for you guys. And I want you guys to succeed no matter what your goals are. And I have specific goals because I had to work through my own personal health opportunity, as I like to say it, to become a better person and flood my body with phytonutrients and micronutrients, which are the most important properties of the plant foods that most people are not properly assimilating or even getting into them in the first place. So I want to thank you guys in advance who will support me, and thank you guys who have supported me in the past. Now the other thing I want to say is, if you guys buy a juicer from Discount Juicers, basically you have me on your side. If you're not getting warranty support from Tribest or whomever the brand is, let me know. If you bought it from me, I will sit and advocate for you. I have special contacts at the different companies to make sure my customers get all their warranty services that are legitimate taken care of as quickly as possible. Of course, sometimes there's out of stock things and things happening due to COVID, and it slows things down a little bit. But in all cases, as far as I'm aware, I've gotten all my customers taken care of, when in some cases they were not able to do it by contacting the manufacturer alone. I think that alone is really worth it, because some of these machines are, high-end machines. These are not those cheap machines you're going to buy at a big box store in the area, some on the random website. Some of these machines, like the Green Star Pro, has a full 15-year warranty. Imagine if your iPhone had a 15-year warranty. Anyways, we're going to get into the comparison today without further ado, and get into comparing these two juicers, which on some levels are totally unmatched, on other levels not so much. So today we have the Green Star Pro. This is basically the commercial version of the Green Star Elite, which is a home version. I prefer the commercial version myself because it has all stainless steel gears, as well as about 10 different things that I determined to be different over the Elite, that I think a little bit extra in price you're going to pay is worth it. I'll put a link down below to that video. On this side, I think we have the BJE430, or also known as the Breville Juice Fountain Cold, right? And the whole big thing, that's a big misnomer in my personal opinion, and based on my testing and experience, and even proving it with a video down below where I actually test the temperature of juicers and the juice that they make. A lot of websites, slow juicer manufacturers, present company excluded, will say high-speed juicers, which this is a high-speed juicer, heats the juice So Breville, in your face, basically said, we came out with the Breville cold. Now it's their same technology that's in all their high-speed units. So all their machines could be labeled cold, but to me that's just a marketing term, because in my testing, I've never tested a high-speed machine that really significantly heated the juice any significantly different than like a low-speed or cold-press juicer. You know, so they are playing on this, and they hope that to get it in people's minds, oh, this is cold, that means this is good. Well, heat is only one determinant of why a juice may not be so good, and you will learn the other ones in this revealing video that I've never done before, so you guys will get to learn that, right? And so this machine actually is a lot less expensive than this guy over here. I never mention prices in my videos because they are subject to change. But it only has a 1-year warranty, whereas if you're getting this, I mean, this is an investment for your life. I mean, actually, I got a message, an email from a mom the other day who has a 29-year-old daughter with stage 4 breast cancer. My heart goes out to them, and they wanted the juice that puts out the best and most nutrients. And I said, hey, get the Green Star Pro. If I had some kind of health condition, this is the machine I would be using, because it literally wrings out and extracts the most nutrition out of the produce and the most phytonutrients, in my personal opinion, because it literally gets in there and grinds and extracts all the different nutrients. A really rich juice, even compared to a press style grinding and pressing or triturating style juicer that I have also used, right? And that's very important. Whereas this style, the high speed machine, while the main benefit is that it is faster than lightning, right? You could juice so fast you could blink and you're done, basically. But the main con to this one, in my opinion, is that it does not properly juice certain produce items too well, like the leafy greens, which in my opinion, and based on research, are the most important foods that we need to include more of in our diets. Number 2, it will juice fruits, but it makes a really wet pulp, as you guys will see in just a little bit. But more importantly, that it oxidizes the juice and does not get a full extraction of some of the different nutrients in the skin and seeds, as proven by science. I'll put a link down below to my video on juicing and science, published scientific studies that I did recently, where I talk about a high-speed machine and how it did not get the health benefit for the mammals being used in the study. And I do not agree with animal testing. It was some rats or mice that did not get the benefits from basically consuming high-speed juice, and they did get that from the extraction of a low speed, but not this style specific juicer, but a machine that basically ground up the skin and the seeds of the grapes to get those nutrients, those bioflavonoids and different phytonutrients into the juice. And so to me, that's where the healing power of the plants are. It's in all these pigments. We want the deepest color, we want the most rich, thick, delicious juice, not basically creating water. Now yes, using something like this is better than not doing it at all, but especially if you're dealing or working through an opportunity with your health to improve it, I would go with the best one. And also, frankly, this one does take longer to clean. This one's a bit easier to clean, but you still have lots of scrubbing to do nonetheless. All right, so in any case, let's go ahead and get into the machines, how they exactly work, for the people that don't know how juicers work, because they just think, a juicer's a juicer's a juicer, and a car's a car is a car. Well, you gotta have an electric car, you gotta have a diesel car, you gotta have a gas run car, and they all basically get you from point A to point B, but they do it a lot differently. And I know a little bit about cars, but I know a lot more about juicers, so let's get into this comparison today. Alright, so the first main difference between these two machines is that this is a fast juicer and this is a slow juicer. This has actually 2 speeds that you gotta go from low if you're juicing something like softer fruits, to high if you're juicing firm fruits like apples or carrots, even leafy greens. You got to use a high mode, and on the high mode this runs at 13,000 revolutions per minute, whereas on the Green Star Pro it runs at a low and slow 110 revolutions per minute. Now if my math is correct, that means this machine is 100 times faster! Yeah, faster's better, man! I got the faster car than you! I'll get there sooner. Well, not necessarily, because if you get a ticket, I'll probably beat you like the turtle and the hare, alright? But yeah, and then faster, while it may be good to save some time, it also lowers the nutrition and do the extraction method. You may not get all the different phytonutrients that are contained within the produce that you're putting in, and hopefully that's the reason why you're juicing in the first place. Okay. The other reason why a high-speed juicer is not good is because, especially if you're trying to juice in the morning, it can be quite loud. You know, I started out with a high-speed machine like this back in the 1990s when I didn't know any better about juicers, and these machines were barely coming onto the market. And, you know, I couldn't juice in the morning because it would wake up my roommates at the time. I mean, if you have a family or whatever, you live in an apartment with thin walls, man, you might get somebody knocking on the wall if you're trying to juice in the morning because you're going to wake them up. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sound test on these machines because I have a sound testing meter, and if I'm talking, you guys can see I'm a fairly loud talker, and it's like when I'm talking, it's peaking out at like 87, 85, 86, right? And I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera there, but we're going to go ahead and turn on the Green Star Pro first. Hold the meter right here. We're basically reading at like 65, 66. Yeah, I'm going to say 67. I don't know if you guys can see that on there, but basically 67. Now we're going to go ahead and turn the Breville on high. We're at 84. I don't know if you guys can see that. But it's like 84. I got to like really yell so you guys can hear me. Now, you know, along with the speed, because it is so fast, and even though it runs 100 times faster, it's still about, what is it, almost 20 decibels louder. It does not mean you're going to get done 100 times faster. It still is going to take some time to juice, and we'll be timing how long it takes to juice, and I guarantee it's not going to be 100 times quicker than juicing in this, although the juicer does run, you know, a lot faster. The other thing I want to say is that, you know, with the speed, it kind of like, that machine has gotten described to me before from a customer as an airplane taking off in my kitchen. It's like when you take off in an airplane and it turns on those turbine fans and it's like, and how does the turbines work? Well, it's loud because it's spinning the fan blades or whatever it does inside there, making air go through so that the plane can take off into the air, right? So that it has lots of basically pull or push or whatever you want to call it in physics. I'm not super into that stuff. But, you know, the main thing about this machine, while it's running really fast, right? If I put my hand in front of this little spout, you can feel the air coming out. And actually the air is kind of warm, and you guys can't see the air because it's like invisible. So what I've created is I've created this thing right here, which is basically paper. And if I blow it, it blows up. So we're going to go ahead and put this in front of this. And look at that, it makes this little streamer like blow. I mean, that's a pretty strong blow. Obviously, you can turn that off. And as it winds down, you can see, you know, the thing kind of like, you know, bends down because there's no wind pushing it. So I want to ask you guys, what does wind do? The power of the wind, right? I feel like air just moving through here because it's pushing a lot of air through this. You know, in the winter, when you have wind chill factor, what is a wind chill factor, right? It makes the cold even colder because of the wind intensifies things, right? The wind, when it's intensified, can be known as tornadoes and rip up houses, and is very a destructive force, right? In this case, it's blowing this little streamer, but what you guys don't realize is that it's blowing the air that's just existing in. It's like sucking the air in, it's pushing it through as you're juicing. So what does this do? This actually adds and bombards massively, oh my god, 13,000 RPMs, massively injects and bombards air into the produce that you guys are juicing. Now this will not affect the minerals in any large way, but what it will do is it will affect the antioxidant nutrients, in my personal opinion, and based on some scientific studies that I have seen in the past. It will lower the phytonutrient content, and if you guys look these guys up, phytonutrients, it's like beta carotene, you know, which is provitamin A, anthocyanins, lycopene, and polyphenol, all these different crazy nutrients. I don't even know them all. There's probably over 10,000 of them or even more, discovered and undiscovered. you know, it has a probability of lowering those in the juice. Now, when you lower those in the juice, guess what, right? They have been linked that certain nutrients like anthocyanins that are in purple carrots have been used in animal studies again to basically provide health benefits to rodents. Once again, do not agree with animal studies. And these are legit. And if you lose these valuable phytonutrients, maybe you won't get the benefits from the juice that you're consuming. And then the whole thing is, what's the point of juicing? Well, yes, still juicing in a high-speed juicer like this is still way better than drinking a Coke or a soda or most things in packages, bottles, and jars at the grocery store. But it's not as good as using something like the Green Star Pro that runs at a low and slow RPM. So the speed I have is only one issue why I'm not a big fan of these machines any longer, because once again, much like cars have advanced significantly in technology since when they originally came out, which is what, the 1900s, Henry Ford built the first, you know, car. You know, now they have airbags. Now they have, you know, they could drive themselves. I mean, they could do so many things, and 30 years ago they couldn't even do that, right? And likewise, you know, these juicers, when they came out, they're state of the art, you know, probably like 50 years ago now. But nowadays, there's new technology, and the slow juicers are the new technology that you should be looking for if you're juicing for your health. Now, if you're just juicing to just replace some soda, yeah, do this. But if you're working on a health condition, I strongly encourage you guys to get a slow juicer, because you're going to wrench up the nutrition that you're getting. You're going to extract more of the valuable phytonutrients, and it's not going to be as oxidized as much or as watered down, as I like to call it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into how this machine specifically works, because that's also another point of the video, is to share with you guys how this works. So the main benefit of this machine is it has a nice 3-inch wide feed chute, which you guys can see right here, and that makes it so you don't have to pre-cut items when you're feeding it in, which definitely saves you some time, which is nice. I'm not going to deny that fact. Now, what happens after you push this in, and wow, this is actually getting a bit warm, the produce goes into this blade right here, and this blade is basically micro-serrated. So if you guys could see that, it's micro-serrated, and it's like you know, the grater that you would grate your carrots up to put in a salad. It basically micro-shreds the produce. As it's micro-shredding the produce in little small bits, right? Juice is released, and as the juice is released, as this is running at 13,000 RPMs, this is basically a screen, and I can kind of see through this, and this allows all the juice that comes out to be centrifugally ejected. That's why this is called the centrifugal ejection, through the screen to the walls of this, and then it comes out the spout here, and then comes into the collection glass. So, you know, while this style juicer, where it basically grinds and shreds, can work exceptionally well in terms of yield, not in terms of phytonutrients, on something like hard vegetables like carrots, you know, it'll work to a lesser degree on softer items, and, you know, really poorly on leafy green items, because leafy green items are not optimally juiced by basically shredding them finely. They're better juiced by basically our teeth, or how an herbivorous creature would eat, which is basically just chewing all day. And I want to say that our best juicers are not a machine you could buy and have on your counter, but our teeth. So we want to chew and masticate all our greens and all our plant foods and try to eat as much of the greens as possible. But even then, you know, I like the juices because it allows me to concentrate the greens and the other nutrients in the carrots. You know, basically, like I had 32 ounces of carrot juice today, and that's 4 pounds of carrots that I wouldn't have just sit and chewed on, because I don't have all day to eat my food. All right. Then once the juice gets flung out, you'll see it happening, because this is a nice clear bowl. And then through literally air force, not even through gravity, because if you look where this spout is high up, right? On here, the juice will collect in the bottom here, but basically due to all the force, it basically gets blown out this hole into the collection container. And if you're not using their specific collection container, you know, it can blow it actually all over your counter. So that's why they provide this big collection container, which actually holds 2 liters, which is really nice. And as you guys see when I juice, you're going to see the turbulence going on inside the container as I'm juicing. So, you know, as I said, this style where you grate and you know, and basically shred things up, it is not effective at extracting like the pigments out of grape skins or the grape seeds. It basically will spit out grape skins pretty much whole. I mean, it'll juice them a little bit. It'll spit out the whole grape seed whole. Whereas something like this, that I'll show you guys in a second, literally crushes and grinds it more like your teeth. You know, I do like that this one is also easy to assemble, and there are very few parts to clean, so we're just going to put the bowl on there. We're going to put the cutting blade on there. Wow, and watch out, I almost cut my finger on that. That's quite sharp. And we're going to put the lid on there. And then we're going to lock it in place. And then they do also give you a nice oversized collection cup. And you got to use their collection container, because if you don't, once again, it is literally blowing the pulp out. And if you don't have this pulp container in place, it's going to blow pulp all over your room. And if this is not properly affixed and like in there solidly and like closed properly, you know, you're gonna blow the fiber all over the juice pulp, and it's gonna make a mess. And I've done that before, so that's no fun. Or if you get a leak here, it's gonna blow it out the little hole. All right. So that's how the Breville juice fountain cold works. Next, let's go into the Green Star Pro. Green Star Pro, once again, has a smaller feed chute. This is 1.5 inches square, and that's 3 inches circle. So this is a smaller feed chute, and you have to push every item in with the included pusher. We're going to take this apart. This has a few more parts to clean. The first part, actually, which is really nice, I'm going to unscrew it right here on the end. This is called the outlet adjusting knob. It has a spring tensioner on it. It may be different in color depending if you have the standard one for vegetables or the fruit knob, which is better for juicing fruits. It puts a softer spring tension, but then again, I do not recommend this juicer for juicing fruits. It doesn't work too well. I'll put a link down below if I remember to a video on using the Green Star Pro for juicing fruits, or even the Green Star Elite. But basically what this tensioner does, and this is something the Breville does not have, basically on the Breville, you put the produce in, it micro shreds it, and then it's flung out literally, boom, in an instant, 100 times faster than this guy. Where this guy basically grinds and chews much like our teeth, and then it runs the produce down the little auger to literally squeeze out the produce, and then it gets to this end part, and this end part, as you guys saw, has that little spring tensioner on here. The spring tension's job is to basically put pressure, and if I squeeze this back, it's pretty hard for me to squeeze it back. It will only allow the pulp to come out once it's dry. Like if there's still wet pulp, it's going to keep it in there to get processed and wrung out more. This means you're going to get a higher yield, especially on certain produce items like the leafy greens especially. In general, if you're juicing vegetables only or vegetables with fruit, I recommend cranking this in the whole way so you have maximum back pressure, which means maximum yield, okay? And then this is just the housing inside there. Then you have the juicing screen. So this juicing screen has a lot less surface area than the screen on the Breville, although this will get impacted with pulp when you're juicing. Next, you have the juicing elements of this machine, which, like on that machine, is all stainless steel. And if we pull these guys out, you guys are going to see 200% stainless steel gears. So there's two stages of this gear. For the most part, this is the grinding stage, where it's basically grinding and chewing up like our teeth would, with a pocket recess to basically cut up all those celery strings that can jam up like a masticating juicer like the Champion. And then as it grinds it up, it grinds it into small particle size, and then it runs into this little section here, which has these little different orientation. And this is the pressing stage. This is like literally, it's pressing and squeezing out the juice, much like a hydraulic press would. And then it basically ejects it out once the pulp is dry. It lets it through that little spring tensioner. And that's how this works. Now, the magic is really in these gears. You know, there's other kind of twin gears or dual auger machines out on the market, but the Green Star Elite and Green Star Pro and original Green Star are the only ones that have this technology that I want to show you guys. And this technology is basically, if you bought the Elite, this is the kind of gear you're going to get. It's basically stainless steel with plastic, and on the Pro, it's 100% stainless steel. So I would encourage you guys to get the Pro. You know, I have seen gears on their older units over time, like this plastic will basically crack and break. On the Pro, that will basically never happen to you. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this gear off the Elite, because you could buy the lesser expensive model and basically get pretty much the same performance as this guy, but once again, 10 things are different, and I would encourage you guys to get the Pro, is because this one's a special one that, I don't know if you guys can see that, but basically it's cut out, so you can kind of see, like, in the middle what's going on in this gear. So in the middle of this gear, there's basically a far infrared and bioceramic technologies that basically are said to pull out more nutrients in the juice and better structure the juice, right? Our Earth is magnetic. I mean, the North Pole and the South Pole, and there's magnetism, and the Earth is losing magnetism, but that's a different discussion topic. But anyways, it is said that through the magnets and the far infrared in here, I mean, they have golfers wear those magnetic wristbands, and they have magnetic sleeping pads and all kinds of things, right? It's supposed to be good for you. They say that this helps pull out more nutrients, and based on a testing I've done by the manufacturer, where they compare this to like some other style juicers, including a pressing and squeezing 2-stage style juicer, this machine pulled out more minerals. Now, is that because of the magnets in here? Well, I want to show you guys how strong these magnets are. We just have a couple common kitchen utensils here for my kitchen drawer. We got this little cutter here. We're just going to go ahead and put it on there. We got this little like pie server thing. We're gonna go ahead and put that on here, and then we got this like little spatula thing, and we could put that on there. Oops, let me see if we could put that on there. Look at that, man. This thing is holding up 3 different kitchen utensils. It's pretty strong too. So that's the power of the magnets in the gears that, in my opinion, are only a good thing. Now, if you don't want the magnets, then don't get this style machine. But I believe that the magnets are only helpful and not harmful, especially after seeing, an easy demonstration you could do is you could run water through this machine without even juicing anything. It'll go through and have the water will be impacted by the magnets. And then you could use that water that you ran through the machine and put a tea bag in there and use the water, like the tap water, or just the water that you didn't put through here, the same water, with a tea bag. And, put a tea bag in there, and you'll see that the one that you ran through the machine with the magnets basically will get out more tea in a faster amount of time. So that's actually quite interesting to me. So yeah, that's the benefits of this. And then of course you just have that feed chute here, which basically houses the gears. Then you have the main motor body here. Once again, runs at a low and slow 110 RPMs. To assemble this one, really simple, real easy. You just put that main body on, and then you got to align these dots. There's 2 dots and 1 dot. You got to make a triangle. That's very important. And then you basically just roll these guys in there. Might have to roll them a little bit to get them to seat properly and go all the way back in, which I think they are. Then we're going to go ahead and put the juicing screen on there. We're going to put the end cap on there, and then we just have 2 little latch arms that put that on. Put the top on, and then you can turn the machine on. Now this one also comes with a collection cup, and the collection cup is glass, which I really like. This goes up. This is measured at 700 cc's, and once again, this is measured at 2 liters or 2,000. I guess would that be cc's, milliliters? I like the glass for sure, and you will need to provide your own pulp collection cup with the Green Star Pro. Now, so that's basically comparing the 2 machines. Now, before we move on, actually, I want to go ahead and show you guys something in the Breville juice fountain manual that I saw that I found particularly peculiar. And, on page 5, on the bottom, it says Proposition 65 warning. California Proposition 65 applicants to California residents only. So if you're in Nebraska, it doesn't apply. It says, this product contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. Now, this Proposition 65 warning is coming on many juicers these days, including all the boxes of the Omega brand juicers. They also have this warning. But to my knowledge, Tribest does not have this warning on any of their machines at this time. That's likely due to some of the plastics used or some other components of the machine. But I certainly don't, it's not my first goal to have appliances that have a Prop 65 warning, when I know some people get into juicing to help support their cancer program or even reverse their cancer program. If you look up the Gerson therapy, right, the Gerson therapy definitely does not recommend a high-speed machine, although they would not necessarily recommend you know, the twin gear machine style, either they would recommend a pure juicer, which is basically a grinding and pressing style machine. If you're curious, I'll put a link below between comparing the Green Star Pro to the pure juicer, so you could get my opinions on that topic. You know, so that's just something that you may want to consider that may play a part in your juicer purchase. Now, the other things I didn't talk about, aside from the 1-year warranty, 15-year warranty, aside from this is a slow juicer, this is a high-speed juicer. This grinds more effectively, runs at a slower speed, a lot more quiet, not going to oxidize the juice as bad, even pull out more nutrition, in my personal opinion, and based on my experience. This is a machine that only can juice, right? It is a one kind of use appliance, only designed for juicing, whereas the Green Star Pro can do multiple uses aside from just juice. So I'd call this more of a lifestyle machine. Yeah, if you want to juice, you got the standard small hole juicing screen, you got a coarse juicing screen with larger holes if you want to juice things and get more fiber in your juice, because I know some of you guys want to get some of that insoluble fiber in your juice, and I want to remind you guys that even in the juice that you guys are making, there's going to be called soluble fiber, and that's the fiber that is actually soluble or dissolves in the water, okay? The other thing is you can make something like mochi in here. You can make frozen fruit sorbets and desserts, right, in the Green Star Pro. You can use this for grinding or shaving up ice. You could use this for grinding and mincing herbs and grinding coffee, you know. It is just so useful. You can make a salsa in here. I've used this to basically grind up the cabbage to make the sauerkraut. This has multiple uses besides just the juicing functions, including extruding pasta with the optional attachment. But yeah, this machine is a lot more useful as more of a kitchen appliance. You can make nut butters in here easily with roasted nuts, but more difficult with raw nuts. But yeah, so this is a more of a lifestyle machine. If you guys are striving and getting into eating healthier, you know, part of my knowledge and part of what I've learned is that, you know, the standard American diet couldn't be better designed by Al Qaeda or ISIS or whomever to basically kill you faster. And we want to eat the foods that are more natural, that are unprocessed, that are rich in phytonutrients, phytochemicals, vitamins and minerals and micronutrients like these plant foods. And simply put, the Green Star Pro allows you to do just that, because after all, the motto of Tribest is that they make healthy living easy. So the next thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and put my money where my mouth is, and we're going to go ahead and juice in both these juicers so you guys can see the results when we juice exactly the same amount of produce in each machine. Alright, so now we're all ready and set to juice. We're going to juice some apples, carrots, cucumber, and some greens fresh from my garden. So the first step is let's make sure we do a weigh-in so we have a fair fight. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the scales. Make sure we have a fair fight over on the Breville cold side. Looks like we got 2,191 grams. And over on the Green Star Pro side, once again, 2,191 grams, Green Star Pro side. Alright, so if we look at both scales at the same time, you guys can clearly see it's 2191 on both scales. Alright, now that we got the weigh-in out of the way and we have a fair fight, let's go ahead and move these aside. And I want to let you guys know that like this is about, I guess, around 4 pounds. And basically how it works is basically every pound of vegetables you juice, or fruits on average, but not exactly, will yield about 8 ounces or 1 cup of juice. So this should yield, I don't know, 4 pounds. It should be yield around 32 ounces of juice, but we will see. Alright, so we got 1 bowl there, 1 bowl here. Now the cool thing is, we're going to go ahead and do a few things. We're going to go ahead, number one, and time this to see how long, if it actually takes 100 times longer in the Green Star Pro, since it's 100 times slower than this machine. Alright, so let's go ahead and juice in the Breville first, since it's going to be done the fastest, and I can get some of this major produce out of the way. And it's pretty easy to juice in the Breville. Just turn it on, stick the produce in there, and juice it. I'll probably do it in real time because it's going to be so quick. Alright, so before I start juicing in the Breville, I want you guys to pay attention of as the juice comes out in this collection cup, basically all the turbulence that is occurring inside the collection cup. I mean, that's a lot of wind that's basically fluffing up the juice, in my opinion, oxidizing, lowering some of those phytonutrients, plus not getting a full extraction from the grinding and pressing method. Turn it on high, and basically for greens, that's the hardest thing to juice. We got to roll them up like a cigar, really nice and tight, or it's not going to really work well. So we're going to take this and basically roll it up, kind of like a cigar, really nice and tight, and even get some of this large stalk and fold it back over on itself. And then we're just going to put this in here and push it in. Oh, we got to hit start. Oh, forgot one leaf. Then we're going to go ahead and put a cucumber in there. And put an apple. Another cucumber. Carrot. And a cucumber. Carrot. Apple, and the last carrot. And that blew the juice everywhere. Stop that. All right, that took 48.3 seconds. I did turn this on a little bit late, so maybe just say 50 seconds overall. Quite loud. Let's go ahead and turn that off and give my ears a break. Oh my God. And I want you guys to notice like all the froth and foam. You know, there's lots of like foam, causes the juice a lot of aeration, and more importantly, you know, if you guys look in here, there's still some juice that didn't actually get blown out, and there's lots of wet pulp, which we will take a look at in a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and reset the stopwatch there, and let's make sure we turn it on in time this time. Now, the thing I need to let you guys know is that on the Green Star Pro, we will need to properly cut up some of the produce items for it to juice properly. You know, some of the items do not need to be pre-cut. I mean, obviously something like the cucumbers, let's see if it won't fit in there exactly because it's too big, so we're going to have to maybe slice it down the middle to get it to fit. Obviously some of the apples we need to slice up as well, so it's going to take a bit longer. I have a cutting board here. I'm going to try to show you guys the process as I'm cutting it up. The leafy greens could just basically get sucked in. And importantly, you know, unlike the Breville where you can just basically put in anything you want in any order, it's not really going to affect how it juices for the most part, although you should always end on a carrot. This will matter. You always want to put the softer things in first, like the cucumbers, followed by the leaves, followed by the root vegetables like a carrot. So we're going to try to do my best to rotate. I'll put a link down below on how to use the Green Star Pro or Green Star Elite juicers properly for the best results, all right? So in any case, let's go ahead and remove the pusher. And it looks like we're all set up, ready to juice. And we're going to go ahead and turn it on, hit start. And we're going to put the first item in, which is basically, we're just going to go ahead and put our chard in. Look at this. It goes right in, nice and easy, nice and quiet. We're going to take this pusher here and just push that in. Literally, we're using one finger. Now, it is easy to push the greens into the machine. And it may be more difficult, it will be more difficult to push, like, say, a carrot in the machine. Next, let's go ahead and slice up some of that cucumber, like lengthwise in half, and then in half again, and put that in there. Once again, we got to push each item in. This will take a little bit of time, but it is really not that difficult, and you'll see the benefit of doing that. Next, we're going to go ahead and just chop off a little piece of carrot to kind of help push that softer cucumber texture through with that nice hard carrot. And then we're going to go ahead and take our apple, and we're just going to go ahead and cut this into, like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 pieces, and drop that in the machine and let it juice up. And we're going to go ahead and follow that with the cucumber, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the rotation through the ingredients and speed this up for you guys on the video, so it'll save you guys a little bit of time. Alright, we got to stop it here because it looks like my collection cup is getting so full already on the Green Star Pro. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just put it in a measuring glass. Maybe we could stop this because technically we're not juicing at this point because I got it empty, so I don't want to like increase the time artificially. And we're going to go ahead and pour this through a sieve. We're going to pour both juices through the sieve so you guys can see how much pulp is collected in each juicer, and I'm spilling a little bit. Very important to pour slowly or you will drip for sure. Alright, that should be enough to get us through the next set of juicing there. turn this back on and hit start again. All right, we're back to juicing. Now I want to show you guys actually how it feeds the greens in. Look at this. You could put the green in there, and literally it almost sucks it in on its own depending on the green you have. And I'm going to go ahead and get back to juicing in high speed mode and come back at you when I'm all done. Alright, we're just about done juicing in the Green Star Pro. We got the last piece of cucumber going in there, and man, this collection cup is almost full again. This is definitely making a lot of juice. Alright, put that last carrot in there. Now the carrot does take a little bit of downward force to press it in. You know, I did have an 80-pound girlfriend at one point who was able to juice with this machine just fine. I do recommend standing on a little stool or putting this on a kitchen table if you can't get the leverage to juice in it. Of course, if you have arthritis or pain in your wrists or whatever, this is probably not the machine you're going to want to buy because it does require some force to use. Now, the other thing on a slow juicer, unlike the high-speed machine, once you put the last item in, you want to give it some time to work. It's still kind of like squeezing out all the produce. How you'll know is that if you remove the pulp where it comes out, if it stops moving out, and you look down there and pretty much it's just you see gears rotating without any pulp or juice in there, you're good to go. So pretty much that's done. Always like to also tip the machine up forward, tip it backwards, see if I'm going to get any drops. We'll get that juice out of there for you, and let's go ahead and hit stop. So it looks like let it run a bit long, but it was basically 7 minutes 18 seconds. So 7 minutes 18 seconds compared to, I don't know, what did it take in there? Was it like a minute or something? I forget. But basically, it's only 7 times longer. Even though that runs 100 times faster, this is only takes 7 times longer. And let's look at the benefits you get from doing it, all right? So let's move this bowl out of the way, and let's go ahead and get another measuring glass up here. Now, I want to let you guys know, and I want you guys to carefully look at the juice over here in the Breville, right? Number one, the juice, look at the color. It's separated into homogeneous layers. Like you have this bottom layer, which is kind of like maybe some more grit. I see it's kind of like oranges, like the pigments. Then you have like a nice kind of like maybe more cucumberish layer. It's kind of like more yellow-green. And then you have a dark green layer. Then you have like a really deep brown layer. And then you have like, man, I have at least 250 milliliters of foam created. I don't know if you guys can see that and see all the different distinct sections. This juice totally separated, and that's because the weight's a little bit different. Plus, it's just being blown up with air, kind of like a hot air balloon blown up with air. Let's go ahead and pour it through a sieve. I will say I do like this. Oh my God, look at that. I can almost see through this juice. What does that mean? That means, yes, it's great. You're extracting the water from the produce. But I'm going to fill it up to 4 cups, and it looks like we have a little bit more, so we're going to go ahead and get another measuring cup to measure it out. And also on the Green Star Pro, let's go ahead and pour this out. We got to do it very slowly so that we do not drip. And we're going to go ahead and pour this up to 4 cups also. And I want you guys just to kind of revel or compare the differences in color that I will be doing a close-up in just a little bit of, all right? Get that right up to 4 cups of juice. All right, got 2 more measuring cups. I don't think the Breville's gonna have a lot more juice, so we got a smaller 2-cup measuring cup, and I got another 4-cupper on the Green Star Pro. So I guess first let's go ahead and pour out the Breville juice into this smaller collection cup here. And once again, I mean, there's very little pulp in the juice, but look at all this foam. Oh my God, there's so much foam, which is totally insane. I personally don't like foam. What is foam? Foam is basically oxidized juice. It's basically juice with the air in it, and it is dripping quite a lot through the wide, the coarse sieve that I have. Next, let's go ahead and continue to pour our Green Star Pro juice out nice and slowly. Alright, so we got all the Green Star Pro juice, and once again, there is also some foam, yes! You know, in the juicing process, basically all juicers will create some foam to a greater or lesser degree, depending on the juicer type. So in basically all instances, the high-speed machine will basically pump more foam into any juice type. That being said, depending on what you're juicing, it may make more or less foam. So for example, on the twin gear, if you juice nothing but leafy greens in it, it'll generate more foam than if you juice only carrots in it, right? For example. And so let's go ahead and shake this down and show you guys. We can shake most of the foam through there, and it goes right through, and there's very little pulp left in this sieve. You know, if we shake this down, I mean, we could shake this down forever. Wow, and look at that, man. This is like whipped cream frosting, reminds me, because it is so thick, and it's going through the sieve. And I guess that's good because we'll be able to measure it, right? And once again, you know, we actually have a little bit of pulp in there when we're done there. So let's move that aside and let's tee these up front and center so you guys can see the differences in yield. Alright, so I thought I'd use a different cup for this guy, so we have like a fair comparison of 4 cups and then a smaller 2-cup one. I was not sure that the Green Star Pro would have made enough to fit in here, and I was concerned about it overflowing, but it will fit in here so you guys could have a more accurate comparison of the yields of the machines there. And I've created yet another dish to wash for myself. Alright, so there we have it. We have all the juices, and let me go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the results with my play-by-play. Alright, let's go ahead and compare the yield. So once again, Green Star Pro side, looks like we just about filled it up to 900 milliliters. And over on the Breville side, once again, filled up to 900 milliliters. Now I want you guys to look closely at the different colors of the juice. You know, to me, the Green Star Pro juice is darker, more richer, and this one kind of like is more like translucent and more watery. So that's, you know, an indicator to me of less phytonutrient content in the juice. And so that's those two. And then if you just look at these two here, this one, I mean, oh my God, look at that, man. That's an inordinate amount of foam in there. And I just don't like drinking that stuff. Of course, it was fast. And if we look at that, it looks like we got basically 100 and maybe 90 milliliters of juice. And then we also created literally, let's see, 100, 200, maybe 250 milliliters of basically foam, which is basically all oxidation that is oxidizing your juice faster. If we go over to the Green Star Pro, the additional juice made was approximately 400 milliliters, and you know, much less, like you can't even really measure that foam. I mean, maybe like a 20 milliliters of foam there. So I mean, it's like what? It was 100 times faster, but created like, I don't even know, 10 times more foam on the Breville. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the results. Alright, so now I want to go ahead and taste test the juices for you guys. So I think, based on my calculations, it was about 16.5% more from the Green Star Pro. So that means that you'll get more yield out of your produce. And let's go ahead and check these juices here. We're going to use a small little cups here. Have a little sample. I think the proof is in the pudding when you taste it, and if you haven't done a side-by-side comparison like I'm doing now, you won't be able to taste the difference, so you're going to have to trust me on this. And we're going to go ahead and try the Green Star Pro. I definitely taste some fine particulate in there, and if you're coming straight from a Breville, you're going to have to get used to having a little bit more fiber in your juice, which on some levels is a good thing. And then over on the Breville side, man, we're going to try this juice with like literally all this foam. Oh my God, we're pouring off lots of foam. And let's go ahead and try this juice now. Wow, alright. So to me, this tastes a little bit more bitter. Like this tastes kind of like really mild, easy to get down. I mean, yeah, there's some fiber. This is really clean. I'm not tasting any particulate in my mouth. But what I am tasting is like, to me, it's an off flavor. It's kind of like, you know, if you cut open an apple and you leave it sitting there on the counter for a couple hours, it turns brown, and then you eat it anyways. It just doesn't taste like that apple. This is the damage of the oxidation, in my personal opinion, that is occurring in the Breville when you're juicing. I mean, it's a lot more watery. I mean, I wish you guys were here to taste these guys. This tastes a lot more rich. And here's the thing, right? When you pick produce to buy, you want to be able to smell it. If it has a greater smell, that can be an indicator of greater nutrition in there. And likewise, you know, when things taste better to you, you know, that can be an indicator of more nutrition. So to me, clearly this has more nutrition based on my taste buds. And of course, they have also done some scientific studies, you know, that I've seen the data on that show that this one will pull out more minerals, for example, you know, than a high-speed machine. Now, the interesting thing we're going to do today is we're going to move some of these juices over to the side here. And as much as it's fun to play with the juices, I also want to share with you guys the pulp that the Breville created, right? So if we pull this machine open, you guys can see there's still lots of pulp inside the machine that, number one, didn't get flung out, so we're going to have to do that manually here. And number two, we're going to just take my hand and just push that all into the collection bin here. And then we're going to also take a look at the pulp from the Green Star Pro machine. And this pulp is actually fairly wet to me. As you guys saw in the yield, it got like 16%, 69% less. And it's hard for you guys to see the pulp when it's in this container here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take these little bowls, and we're going to go ahead and doll this out. All right, let's see if I can do this without making too much of a mess here. Wow, look at that, all that pulp in there. All right, I think we got, oh, there's still a lot in here. Let's go ahead and try to get all that out. All right, so this is what you get when you get a Breville. You know, you may get some pieces like of greens especially that did not get juiced. I mean, here's literally whole leaves of lettuce that you could add to a salad, as well as the different produce items. I mean, most of it's actually fairly fine shredded, but the greens especially there are some chunks of. Actually, I'm not seeing chunks of any of the apples or anything else today, but mainly the leaves. Oh, here's a big kind of like slice of the cucumber that basically just got ejected out quickly and did not even get juiced. Now, if we pick up some of this pulp, we could squeeze it, and look at that. Man, we are wringing out juice. Oh my God, this juicer is so inefficient, right? Let's try to get that juice back in there because I'll be doing something with that in a second. And next, let's go ahead and show you guys the Green Star Pro. The pulp created on that, you know. So if you look at that, I mean, if you look at this and look at this, I don't know if you guys hold that up there for you guys, but you guys can see literally pieces of pulp in there, and this, everything is basically ground up, right? I'm not seeing any large pieces of cucumbers. I'm not seeing any little bits of char. I'm seeing basically fine ground pulp. And when I pick this up, you could also wring it out, and it is actually kind of wet. Now, here's the ticket, right? Here's the secret. If you take this pulp and run it back through the machine for a second time, it'll get this pulp drier and you'll extract more juice out of it. Yes, even the Green Star Pro doesn't make the pulp 100% dry like a pure juicer can, right? And that's a pro and a con in its own respect, because this does a better job at grinding up and breaking open cell walls and getting nutrients out of the cell walls compared to a pure, in my personal opinion. And if you put the pulp through a Breville, either of the pulps, you'll get a little bit of juice out, but it's mostly going to kick out a lot of wet pulp and make a mess. So what I thought I'd do for you guys is actually, let's see how much more juice we can get out of the Breville pulp by using the Green Star Pro. And let's see, I got a measuring cup here. So we're going to juice into my measuring cup here. And we're just going to do this in fast forward mode, so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me rejuice all this pulp here. So I hate wasting pulp. So this allows you to maximize the nutrition, maximize the yield out of your produce or organic produce that you may be buying that can be actually quite expensive. Alright, so I'm almost done juicing, rejuicing all the pulp, and this is totally amazing. Like, I just used like maybe a 1 cup pitcher because I didn't think I was going to get that much juice out of the pulp. But now this pulp is pretty dry. Let's go ahead and turn this machine off, and we're going to just go ahead and pour in this extra pitcher here the extra juice I caught. Whoa. Look at all this extra juice coming out of the pulp from the Breville. This is how wet it still is, and if you had a Green Star Pro, you could basically rejuice your pulp and get more yield. Of course, you can also do this out of the Green Star Pro pulp, but it will not make as much as the Breville because the Breville is not as efficient first time through. Alright, so we're juicing the rest of this pulp, and I think we'll be done in a second, and we're going to come back at you and see how much we made. Alright, after rejuicing all the pulp, now I can show you guys this pulp, right? This pulp is now non-distinguishable. There are no pieces of whatever you guys can't see. And if we pick this up, I mean, that's pretty doggone dry. I can squeeze it out, and I'm squeezing a few drips, but it's not like a waterfall like it once was. So that is amazing. Just second time through the Green Star Pro with this basically grinding and pressing power. Alright, let's go ahead and pour this out, and look at this, man. I'm going to pour that in there. And oh my god, we basically made 2 solid cups, so this is only 1 cup listed. We made 2 solid cups, or 500 milliliters more of juice. Oh my god, first time through I think we had like a 900 plus, like, I don't know what we have on here, like maybe 400 or something, I forget. But basically, we made 500 more milliliters. That significantly increases your yield. So guys, I would encourage you guys, if you guys want the most efficient juicer, to get the Green Star Pro. And if you don't get it all the first time, put that juice through back a second time to get all the juice out. Clearly in this episode, you guys saw the supreme power of the Green Star Pro, how it basically extracted even more juice first time through, and then even extracted the pulp out of the Breville. It also made a more nutritious juice due to the better grinding and pressing capability that does not oxidize the juice or add as much foam to the juice. It gives you more rich, deep, delicious tasting juice compared to the Breville that was definitely faster, but you're losing a lot by using a fast juicer. So hopefully in this episode you guys have seen which juicer reigns supreme in this juice off comparison test. Now, of course, the final thing you guys aren't seeing is that cleaning the machines. This, I have basically 1, 2, 3 parts to clean, maybe 4, maybe some containers. And this, you have a few more extra parts. I think this machine takes me about 5 minutes to clean, approximately. But the time that you take to clean the juicer will be well invested when you have a more nutritious juice as well as more juice to drink. I mean, literally 500 milliliters or 2 cups of juice. That could be basically an extra juice for tomorrow's juice, depending on how much you're drinking in a day. And that could definitely save you guys some money in the long run. Despite this machine being a little bit more in price, you know, you have a 15-year warranty, whereas in year 2, year 5, year 14, this fails due to a defect, due to no fault of your own. It will be repaired or replaced under warranty. Whereas this machine, after year 1 and year 2, if you break this, you gotta buy it. And the other thing is, there's consumables on this machine. The shredding disc, if you use it enough, will get dull, and you gotta just throw it away and get a new one. Whereas on this machine, there's no wearing parts on here, right? There's not teeth that could wear out or anything like that, and this will just continue to work for years. Some of the original Green Power original juicers that this company made are still out and operating today, and some people swear by them still. So I mean, just, you know, consider if you guys are getting a juicer, it's the most important investment you guys can make in your life, because it's about your health and allowing you to get more of these beneficial plant phytochemicals, phytonutrients, vitamins, and more importantly, those trace minerals into you that, in my opinion, are not being eaten by Americans at this time. If you guys are interested in buying the Green Star Pro juicer, check the link right down below for a link to go right to our website to buy it, and you guys could use a special coupon code SAVE30, S-A-V-E, all in capitals, S-A-V-E, all capitals, 3030 with no spaces, for a $30 discount on our price of the Green Star Pro. We basically pay for shipping on it, and we do not collect sales tax at this time when this video is being made for any state other than the state of Nevada, because we are a small business and don't do a whole lot of volume in other states around the country. If you guys enjoyed this episode, hey, please be sure to give me a thumbs up on the video. Also be sure to share this video with somebody else that's using a Breville that should be informed about, you know, the pros and cons of it, as well as some of the significant cons, especially if you're trying to juice for your health, increase your vitality, and overcome a health opportunity. Now, of course, if you have any kind of disease or anything like that, please see a medical doctor. You know, I use juicing to support my diet, and it helped me get over my specific medical condition many years ago, and I can make no claims regarding how it's going to work for you. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new upcoming episodes that are coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know what we'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you hit little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. Also, finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel dedicated to comparing and contrasting all the different juicers as well as other appliances that allow you to eat more fresh fruits and fresh vegetables in your diet so you could have the maximum health benefits from them. So with that, my name is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.